When we look at, we'll merge the tight end position with Michael Mayer, one of the best in the business, 42 catches last year, into the wide receiver spot. Javon McKinley's gone. I've been hearing about Braden Lindsey, Kevin Austin, and what their impact could be for a few years now. I know that Notre Dame fans are just waiting for there to be more explosiveness on the outside, and the parts are there.
Sure. Well, you look at Braden Lindsey, we got a glimpse of him sort of the second half of the 2019 season. You know, he was injured in fall camp, which has been a big problem for him throughout his career. That's the reason he had 7 catches for -7, you know, for less than 70 yards this past season. Couldn't be healthy. He was healthy in 2019. His first big play of the season was, you know, as part of the rotation, was a 51-yard touchdown on a reverse against USC. He also had a 72-yard touchdown on a post route against Navy. Had a 61-yard touchdown on a jet sweep against Boston College, right? Like, that's the kind of thing that Braden Lindsey brings to the table. Is he's a home run threat. He's not a high-volume player, but he's a home run threat. Well, what was something that was missing from the offense last year, Mark? It was the ability to have a home run threat in the pass game. And Braden can bring that. He's not, to me, a guy that you want to play 60 snaps a game. I don't know if he's a guy that can handle that kind of volume. He just hasn't in his career, but you bring him in and he can do that. Ken Austin, guy that hasn't flashed that on games. We've seen him in practice just embarrass Notre Dame defensive backs, but he's got to stay healthy. He's got to stay locked in. He's a kid that broke his foot twice last year, so I'm a little concerned and skeptical about, you know, just how good and explosive he can be. But if those two guys play to their potential and stay healthy, you're talking about 2 dynamic players that come in different packages. Braden Lindsey's 5'11", a $185. Burner, Kevin Austin, 6'2", 210, huge catch radius. So they do it in different ways. And then you talk about a guy like Lawrence Keys, who's a really dynamic athlete as well from New Orleans. He had 5 catches for over 100 yards in the spring game. He had a great spring. Avery Davis was a very steady player last year. Clemson found out what Avery Davis can do when he's given an opportunity. You know, not just the big 50-plus yard gain late in the game, but then he scored the game-tying touchdown with just seconds left in regulation. So he's a dynamic kid, former quarterback. And then there's a kid that I'm really excited to see this year from Nebraska. He's a sophomore named Xavier Watts, who I think can be a really, really outstanding player. And he's a very versatile player, has some Kevin Austin to his game, has some, you know, Braden Lindsey, Avery Davis to his game. So I think he could be a weapon. But there's a lot of ifs there, Mark. That's the big concern I have. A lot of ifs. If Braden Lindsey's healthy, if Kevin Austin is healthy, if Lawrence Keys can take the next step, if they can develop Xavier Watts, something that Del Alexander has not done a good job of developing younger receivers since he's been here. And then I didn't even get into the freshmen like Lorenzo Styles and Deion Colsey. So the talent is there. You've got Michael Mayer at tight end, who's a stud. And a guy that not a lot of people talking about is George Takis. I mean, if George Takis steps up, he's a former 4-star recruit who was just buried behind a couple other NFL offensive tight ends in his career. But the few opportunities he's got, he's looked good, you know, and he's 6'6", 250. So if he steps in as the number 2 tight end, then Michael Mayer's your small guy. I mean, that's kind of a nice proposition to have. So, you know, there's a lot of talent there, Mark. But as a coach, my concern is, yes, we have a lot of talent looking at it from a coach's standpoint, but there's just not a lot of proven answers. And I'm just someone who likes proven answers. So, you know, that's why I haven't been on the Notre Dame's going to be a playoff team push yet, because I want to see some of those questions get answered. But the tools are in place for it to happen. Now just some guys got to step up and play at a level that we haven't seen a ton, and that's going to be the key for him, in my opinion.
Takis caught 3 balls last year. Avery Davis, 24 receptions, 2 touchdowns.